I'm among the many, many people who thought that Toy Story 3 ended the series perfectly, with Andy handing off the toys to Bonnie. That felt like not only a proper conclusion for the trilogy as a whole, but for anyone that grew up with the series like I did, it felt like a real, definitive, satisfying conclusion to saying goodbye to your childhood, basically. And at the time, and still to this very day, that ending of Toy Story 3 hits me harder than anything any movie has ever done. I remember the first time I saw Toy Story 3, I could not stop crying in the theater. Not only because of the emotional significance of what was going on, but because of how deeply I could relate to it as well. With being a scared shitless 17-year-old at the time, worrying about letting go of his childhood and innocence and moving into a more adult world, I found Toy Story 3 to be a very comforting film, and still to this day it is an extremely comforting film to watch, no matter how dark and almost disturbing it gets at points. So, I've always had a lot of skepticism regarding a Toy Story 4. And when they finally announced it, I thought to myself, okay, this is just going to be a cash grab. Disney does not want to let go of this franchise, so they're just going to ride it into the ground. However, when I heard that this film was going to be about the return of Bo Peep, I thought, okay, I'll give it a chance. So, I went into Toy Story 4, hoping for the best, but expecting something that was not at all going to live up to the legacy that the original 3 masterpieces brought to the table. And, truth be told, I really liked Toy Story 4. And you know you have an extremely special film series on your hands when even the weakest film in it is both very entertaining and deeply moving. What Toy Story 4 shockingly gets right is that it offers an actual satisfying epilogue to this trilogy that I didn't know that I needed. Whereas the original trilogy was about the relationship between Andy and the toys, this film brings closure to the relationship, or the character arc, more to speak, of Woody. And Woody's character arc is brought to a rather predictable but nonetheless satisfying conclusion in this film. And while I do think the first half is significantly weaker than the second half, the first half still has a lot of the humor and entertainment and pathos that I expect from this series. There are a couple things going into this film that I was not all that really looking forward to. I wasn't really looking forward to Key and Peele's characters. I wasn't really excited all that much for the idea of this weird toy villain, because I felt like we had already gotten all that from each of the films practically. Besides Toy Story 1, I think Sid is more the human villain. There's always going to be the big bad toy in Toy Story 2 with the Prospector, and then we got Lotso in the third one, and this one it's got Gabby Gabby, and I just went, oh great, it's another evil toy. But I was shocked by how effectively Gabby Gabby's arc was portrayed and concluded in this film. And to be honest, that hit me a lot more. The conclusion of her arc hit me a lot more than what happens with Woody at the end. And I was also shocked by how much I liked Key and Peele's characters, who I'm not a fan of them, really. I don't really like their TV show. And when I saw the trailers and realized that they were going to be in it, I went, oh, okay. And even the trailers didn't really sell me on it with them. All the clips that I saw were just kind of, just seems like they're really just doing the Key and Peele shtick. But they really surprised me. They are well utilized, they're not overexposed, and they actually get one of the best gags in the movie, which made me laugh out loud. I shit you not. It was wonderful. I loved their little comedy moment that they had. Their big one. Their big showstopper one. And the animation in this film is wonderful. The music by Randy Newman is still great. I love all the little hints and throwbacks to the old Pixar films, and some classic films that I will not spoil here. I think the secret to this film's, not only this film's, but the trilogy's success is just the actors that they have for these characters. I mean, Tom Hanks, he's one of the best actors of all time, and he brings such a warmth and a comfort and soothing nature to Woody that really cannot be understated, and this franchise really would not be the same without him. Even with my cynicism about how Disney is running the company these days, Pixar still is easily, even in their weakest state, like one of the best around. And I think even though they aren't hitting any home runs anymore, or their last home run in my opinion was Toy Story 3, Toy Story 4, still really good, still highly worthy of checking out. And as somebody who's been a Pixar fan since I could walk and speak and comprehend movies, I think if you're going to see this and you know what to expect, you're going to come out really happy with how it turns out. So, Toy Story 4. It's really good.